So we're here in beautiful Austin, and Margaret is my new bestie as a real estate agent. Yay! She is the real estate agent that helped one of my bridesmaids find her house in Austin. So that's how we met. And we got to talking, and I thought, wouldn't this be great? Because I know a lot of people are thinking, if I weren't to live in Glendale, where would I go? And some of you are even thinking, I'd like to retire or at least go into the third act, and I don't have to do it here. Where could I go? And I wanted to ask Margaret a whole bunch of questions about what it would be like if we were to retire in Austin.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is where I always start in. I know Austin's a huge community. Probably the price ranges are really, really diverse.
Yes.
You could go from barrio to luxury. You probably have many multi-million-dollar,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Normal people. Let's just say that you've got your middle class professionals and they want to live in a nice neighborhood. They don't necessarily need the best schools,
sure, but
they also want a place that has good investment. You know, it's like property values are going to rise.
They'll rise.
Right. Your average 3-bed, 2-bath home,
reasonably updated.
Yeah. What do you think it would be?
Okay, so it depends on the obviously the part of town you're in.
Right.
So
of course,
if you're in central Austin itself, you're probably looking at $700-800.
Okay.
Southwest Austin, not far off from there. If you go further north to North Austin and areas like Round Rock, that price would come down a bit, probably $450.
Okay.
Again, there's a lot of variety in there depending on the actual neighborhood, and even within specific communities, each neighborhood will have its own variances as well.
That's interesting. So north is less expensive than south.
On the whole.
On the whole.
I mean, that's a broad range thing.
Yeah.
There are $1 million properties up in Round Rock as well, but it's been that's just been the price variation. And then as we go west of Mopac, the prices go up as well. Mopac is one of our major highways that goes through the city.
Okay. So here's a question I have for you.
Yeah.
You do a lot of relocation work. People
yes.
who are coming from there
yes.
to here.
Yes.
What are the things you wished they knew? Or yes. What are the most common questions that you are asked by people who are relocating?
Who are coming. So
yeah.
So there are a lot of things. I mean, Austin's been very trendy in the news, and I've had
so
people,
trendy.
So trendy. I've had people call and say, I've never been there, I don't know anybody there, and I want to buy a house. I'm like, please come visit first. Austin is a fantastic city. I've lived here since I was 2 years old. I left for a while for grad school and I lived overseas, but it always drew me back. So there are some intrinsic things about Austin and what it offers and what it doesn't offer that I think a lot of people don't know about. And I know there was that infamous article, did you read it, about the Californian who came out and then completely said this place is absolutely terrible and went back to California? And it was, he didn't do his research. So here's the thing, the city has grown more quickly than the cultural infrastructure has. So we have some museums, but they're smaller. We don't have the kinds of museums that are in Los Angeles or Houston. Our artistic groups, of which I'm a part of one of them, they're part-time and they're smaller. So and our roads, our traffic is getting really bad because we're just not set up for the kind of population we have. So when you come here, the traffic might not be as bad as what you're used to in Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York City, but it's pretty bad, and it's going to get worse because more people are still driving here, or moving here. So we are, there are plans of expansions and roads that are changing and things, but there are things to be aware of that the city has and doesn't have as you make your consideration. So there are a lot of incredible offerings as far as great restaurants, endless restaurants, brew houses, wine tastings, all kinds of things like that, barbecue. We have the lake, we have the lake in Austin, we've got the ones outside. There's a lot to explore, but definitely do research before just upping and moving here.
If you don't know anybody here, it might be harder to get in.
Absolutely.
Is it hard to meet people here though?
No, I don't think it is. The culture has changed. Texans and Austinites traditionally were extremely friendly, wave and smile to each other if you don't know each other, and that's changed as people have come in from other areas and with other just cultural norms.
native Austinites are starting to circle the wagons.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like, well, we still wave, but then we're not waved back to you. We're like, or you know, someone thinks you might be hitting on them if you say hi.
What if someone wanted to say, like me, buy a house here in Austin, but not live here full time? Maybe Airbnb it, or just rent it out as an investment. Can you do that here? Will it pencil?
So long-term rentals are fine typically. There are some communities that don't allow it, but that's you know, we always know that ahead of time. There's some condo communities, for instance, that say you have to live here. Airbnb is a tricky one because to be licensed, the city gives out a limited number of permits. Okay,
so Airbnb, you have to get a city license to do that.
Yeah, and
not all willy-nilly. Just do it, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Now there are areas around Austin where that's not the case. So if you go outside of the city of Austin, it's different in so many places. And if anybody is listening and curious, feel free, contact me. I'll do whatever research you want for it. But they typically with the Airbnb ADUs in Austin, you have to live in the residence.
Okay, so there's a residential or living covenant is what we call that, right?
Right.
Okay, so but you said that you can buy a rental, long-term rental, and it will be a push at least, generally?
Yes, generally, yes.
And so what price can you get a reasonable rental that would push?
So I would say an investor looking here, you're going to be looking probably at $350 would be your bare minimum to get into.
She winces because she doesn't know we can't even buy indoor plumbing for $350. But okay,
I know.
Okay, so $350.
But that wouldn't be in Austin. That would be outside. That would be in some of the surrounding communities: Buda, Kyle, Round Rock, Hutto. There are lots of towns all around Austin.
And in town?
And in town, you're looking more at some areas you might find something for $450.
Okay.
But it's going to be definitely a buy and hold situation for a while.
Right. But you could rent it for what you're with 20% down.
Yeah. So I think, is it 20 or 25?
Oh, for a rental. Okay, so you put 25% down on a basic rental property, $450, let's say. You could probably rent it for a push.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So it's again, so much variety within the different communities. And when I work with investors, I'm looking at the not only the comps for the sale prices, but also the rental comps as well. And each subdivision within the areas will change depending on the amenities provided.
Right. Okay. All right. Cool. And would those be condos or houses? Either. So you can find like whole houses.
Oh yeah, you
with
can.
Indoor plumbing and everything for under $450.
Yeah, amazing, right?
Amazing. Amazing.
Incredible.
That is awesome. So, if a Californian wanted to say, find me the best potential property, neighborhood, if you will, in Austin, what's your favorite pick right now?
Oh goodness,
just right now
for a rental.
Yeah, rental or like just an investment. Maybe I'll want to retire here someday.
Yeah. Okay. So if it's something like that where it might be a house you want to live in. I personally love Southwest Austin. The zip code 78749 and 78739. Now, disclaimer: I live in 78739.
You heard it here first. Hot Hood. 78739. 78739. Hot Hood. So right here.
Love that zip code. It's accessible to downtown, to UT. We have a lot of UT professors who live in the neighborhood.
Okay.
I play with the symphony, and so I get to the Long Center in 20 minutes.
She just dropped that one.
I just dropped that one.
Yeah, you did. She plays in the symphony.
You're 10-15 minutes away from the hill country and Dripping Springs and Driftwood and all of these other places to get out of the city. So if you were doing that, it's going to be a higher price point to get into that neighborhood. But if it's something, but of course the rentals are higher as well. So there's kind of a balance.
So what would it take to get into that neighborhood?
I would say sometimes the house comes on that may need a little work for $650. $6. Sometimes even a little less than that. There are houses that need renovation, and so if you're willing to put in some sweat equity, you buy one that's...
And what would something all duded up and cute and everything rent for?
In 7739?
Yeah.
There are houses right now, I was just looking at those comps yesterday, There are some that are renting. There's actually one in my neighborhood. It's one of the larger estates. It's renting for $10,000. But some of the updated ones that are just the normal houses, they're in the mid to high 3,000s.
Okay, really respectable rents.
Yeah, respectable rents.
Okay, and who's renting there?
A lot of times these are professionals who are moving here, who are waiting, they want to spend 6 months or a year in Austin, get their feet wet and just see where they want to buy, or they're here on a temporary assignment or something like that.
Excellent. So it sounds like this is a great opportunity for an investor who is not looking for a quick win, but something that is stable and solid in a community that's not only in demand now, but has every hallmark of being an in demand for the long term in our new post-COVID world.
Yay!
Yes! Margaret, thank you so much for being on my show. How can people reach you if they want to talk to you?
Well, I mentioned I was in the symphony. I'm a cellist, and my website is thatcellistrealtor.com.
We'll talk about that.
I know, yes.
So there you go. Margaret Coltman, there will be information on how to contact her in the links down below. It's been awesome talking with you guys. Remember, we're doing a podcast on the best places to retire. I'm Kendall with Diggs. Look forward to seeing you around town. I look forward to helping.